It's time for Criminal Law 101.
With criminal defense attorney Ken Eulo from the law firm of Smith Eulo.
On 101.1 WJRR.
All right, we are Orlando's rock station. Ken Eulo has arrived. Smith & Eulo, if you have a criminal law situation, you find yourself in a bit of a snafu, good firm to get a hold of for some help. You guys, everything from criminal law, traffic situations to first-degree murder and everything in between.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Ken's here. Obviously, a lot to discuss current event-wise, and we'll get to some of that. We have some listener questions that come in at 22526. One thing we just wanted to get to, though, from an earlier idiotology segment, an interesting trial going on over in France. It's a murder trial. You got a woman who was killed by what is to believe one of a set of identical twins. They have recovered DNA from the murder weapon. The identical twins have matching DNA and are not being cooperative. Where does something like this go? And as a criminal defense attorney, wouldn't this be a great situation for you if they were your clients?
First of all, I'm kind of curious. I mean, this story intrigues me in that is it true, right, that a identical DNA actually, I mean, is it identical or can they not?
It says identical twins share identical DNA. The only one who can even tell these two apart is their mother.
That's fascinating, right? I mean, it really is. I mean, I always thought, and maybe it's just my naivety. I always thought that even though you were identical, there was some ability to still trace some, difference between DNA. But if they truly have identical DNA, and the entire case rests on DNA.
If they don't have more beyond
there's
that.
There's no, I mean, I guess even if you had a witness, right? Like, that would be weird because...
Unless it's their mom.
I saw that guy, right?
What would you do if it falls in your lap?
I mean, I think that if they're not cooperating and I have the representation for both of them, I think you have a strong case, right? I think it's very difficult now, obviously, they could probably try to maybe introduce some sort of tampering or, not cooperating with law enforcement to both of them to try to get maybe one of them to talk and threaten, some sort of serious,
whoever talks first gets the deal, like they do in the movies, right?
I mean, honestly, I think that something like that would probably be applicable. I mean, the reality is that you have these two people that have identical DNA and they're intentionally, acting together so I think there's something there. I mean, there's no requirement legally that you normally have to talk, but in this situation, it feels kind of like they're helping each other.
And I asked Taco earlier, I go, if you're the twin that knows you didn't do it, and Bob, your response was,
"Oh, I'm turning him in."
No, you said you probably are.
I had more time to think about it.
Because you said identical twins are so close and share so much that
they're so alike that they wouldn't turn the other one in, but I would.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any listener questions? I'm going to be curious to see where that thing ends up going. I just try to keep tabs on that.
What constitutes as stalking in an age of social media?
Yeah, so I mean, you got different types of stalking, right? You got in person, like physical stalking. You got cyber stalking, which the person mentioned, some sort of digital media, today's modern society. I mean, obviously, repeated unwanted interactions. So if you do not want interaction with somebody and you want to start kind of the stalking timeline, so you can actually move forward and proceed with either criminal or civil stalking. You want to at least set some boundaries, right? Like, you want to say something like, listen, at this point now, this communication is unwanted. I no longer want this communication, to at least set some sort of boundary. And then if the communication, they keep texting you and calling you and it's repeated, at a certain point, and there's no pin where you can just put a finger on and say that's the moment, but usually it's repeated behavior after the ability that it's no longer wanted.
How much would law enforcement need from someone who's concerned about a stalker before they have enough where they can step in to
I would say, like, I mean, it depends on what it is, right? Like, if it's coming by a house, I mean, 2 incidents is enough, right? Like, so if it's just like a person comes by your house and you can prove that they came by your house and you said, listen, I don't want you to come here anymore. Leave me alone. Don't come here anymore. And the person comes back again later that night, that now you're in officially stalking territory, right?
Gotcha.
The tough part is that there's this kind of weird line where is some of the behavior a little bit consensual, right? Like, person shows up, you're arguing, screw you, how dare you, blah, 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 and the person shows back up. It's like, that's not really stalking, right? There has to be a clear delineation of, I do not want this, leave me alone, do not come back. That's sort of like strong language that, you can kind of point to and say, I told them never to come back here again. I was very clear about it, and they just kept coming back.
I have it on my doorbell cam, for instance.
Right? So I think you need something very definitive, but just simply an argument, right, and then they come back is not really going to be sufficient.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we have one from, I'll summarize it, it's long, from somebody about their college daughter. Cops pulled us over, her and friends, at a traffic stop because headlight was out, okay? Car smelled like weed, so they asked all of us step out of the car, search the vehicle. She found a bag in the back seat and asked whose it was. So I told her it was mine. In the bag, there was a bong, grinder, weed, and a crack pipe that I did not know was a crack pipe. Pulled her aside, the daughter, cuffed her, and then has to show up in court within 10, I think it was 10 business days.
So that case actually has a really interesting legal point that's kind of come up in the news and actually in case law over the last year. It's been a really hot button topic, which is the smell of weed enough to perform, a search or continued detention? And the new case law is kind of in favor of that individual, right? So
yeah, they put that in there actually about that law. As of October 2025, smell of weed is no longer probable cause.
So it's mostly true, but there's caveats to that.
You had
right?
the headlight, which was the initial reason to be pulled over.
It's not going to be the headlight, right? It's just kind of the overall sort of vibe, right? Like, so like the courts are allowed to consider weed as a factor. It can't be the factor, but it can be a factor, right? So if you see a couple of occupants of the car, it's late at night, they seem a little bit, maybe the driver seems a little bit unsteady, you got a smell of marijuana, there's some weirdness going on, you can kind of maybe add stuff together.
You got to step it up for
to gather all of this stuff and kind of cobble it together to create this probable cause now at this point. So it's a little bit different than the old days. The old days you could just say it smells like weed, search.
Right.
But now you have to cobble together facts to create probable cause. And I've actually seen some judges' rulings recently that I actually really disagree with, and even in Orange County, where we had a case where couple was walking to the car, and cops surround the car. The second they get in there, they say they smell weed. They go, they start shining flashlights and order them out of the car. And we filed a motion to suppress Orange County. Not going to tell you the judge's name or anything like that. Judge ruled against us, and to me, we were shocked. And honestly, I think it was a bad decision. I mean, I'll be interested to see how that plays out on the appeal going up. But there is a lot of lower court discretion on their ability to say, I think that this is sufficient, or I think this is not sufficient. And I've seen some judges, in my opinion, make really bad decisions on this particular law at the lower court level because they combine whatever factors they want to combine, and they say it works out.
Your advice to this listener: they have a case to fight. You think here worth fighting?
Should they get a public defender? Is what they're wondering.
No, I mean, I think that anybody who has the money to hire a lawyer should hire a lawyer, right? Because public defenders. And it's no knock on public defenders. I mean, there's really talented, good public defenders out there. But I mean, objectively, there's really bad ones out there. I mean, there's no way around.
Luck of the draw,
like we were talking about last year.
Yeah.
So why why? I mean, usually you're dealing with kind of this bag of this mix of you're reaching into a bag and you're going to pull out. Am I going to get a good one or am I going to get a bad one? Right. And it's like, if you have the money, why would you reach into a bag? Why would you take that chance, right?
Gotcha.
Okay.
You call Smith Eulo.
Yeah, call Smith and Eulo. We'll give you a fair
forward
price. Yeah.
I'll forward it over to you.
All right, real quick before we wrap it up here, this high-profile kidnapping case that has the nation riveted right now. This Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. What is $6 million demand? And at 5 o'clock today, Bitcoin to be paid, or she gets it.
Yeah.
What kind of weight does kidnapping carry?
I mean, kidnapping's a life felony, right?
Okay.
So you're looking at serious life-ending consequences if it plays out to its natural conclusion, right?
This family has demonstrated a willingness to pay. They're asking for Bitcoin as the payment. Is that really rolling the dice that you may cough up all that Bitcoin ransom? It disappears, God knows where, and mom never gets returned.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those. I mean, I've never personally had a case where there's a ransom involved.
Pretty
right?
wild, right?
But I mean, you just have to kind of judge. I mean, is it worth? It's a tough. It's one of those calls where you just kind of have to probably be in that moment and say, do you want to take the shot on paying the money, and hopefully it does something. There's also a good chance that if you pay the money, you're going to get the money back too, right? Because
you hope.
Well, I mean, in theory, you pay the money as part of some sort of police investigation, and obviously that money is going to be tracked. I mean, I was telling you a little bit before the show that there are investigators out there, some legitimate, some illegitimate, but they can actually go in and track where the crypto goes.
Yeah.
Some of them again are very non-reputable people that are trying to steal money from elderly and things like that. But I mean, there are legitimate investigators out there that can kind of track this Bitcoin to where it's going. So it might be a situation where they can actually get the money back, even if they pay in Bitcoin.
Gotcha. Can you give Ken's contact info out before we wrap it up here with Criminal Law 101?
Yes, it's Ken at SmithAndEulo.com. Again, that's Ken at SmithAndEulo.com. And I'll forward that listener on to you.
Ken, always interesting stuff to talk about, banter about, and always appreciate your perspective, man.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, see you next week, buddy.
Soak it in like a sponge.
WJRR.